Hey guys, this is Mark Goldberg with another exciting video for you today. Thank you so much for joining me during COVID 2020. Before we jump into the meat and potatoes of this video, I would like to go ahead and get the quick fistwatch check out of the way. New subscribers to the channel wonder why it's a quick fistwatch check instead of a quick wristwatch check, and the answer is I don't know. It has just become the culture of this channel. Anyway, let's go ahead and do it, and here it is. 3, 2, 1. It would help me so much if you would throw a like on this video, and please subscribe to this channel. 2020 is going to be a crazy year. Let's do this one together. Today I am wearing a beautiful, let's get that into the sun so you can have a look at this thing. This is the problem with sunlight and direct shooting and no editing, and I don't have a crew of people, but look at the glorious dial on this Seiko Blue Lagoon limited edition turtle. I mean, okay guys, it's not a Rolex. I don't claim that it's a Rolex. It's a, I don't know, $400 or $500 watch, but let's be honest. Sometimes you just get the itch for a cheaper watch and you want to just play around in the world of horology. Why do I wear cheap watches? Why do I wear expensive watches? Why do I love Rolex? Because I love watches. I love them at all levels. I've got from Timex all the way up through Rolex. Guys, it's time for me to jump into the meat and potatoes of this video right now because finally we've got some good news. Okay, before we talk about Moneypenny and the message that I have from him/her, I want to talk to you briefly about what I mean when I say Rolex. Rolex is a lot of things to a lot of people. Of course, it's the watch, it's the brand, it's the authorized dealer, it's the gray market, and then there's this big factory or complex of factories in Switzerland. For the purposes of today's video, when I talk about Rolex, I'm talking about the manufacturer in Switzerland. Okay, it's a compound, it's a complex. They have a lot of factories. They have a board of directors. They have upper management. They have employees. They make watches, guys. That's what they do. Now, after they've made watches, they put them into the worldwide distribution network. So some of you guys, when you say Rolex, what you mean is the local jewelry store who has a Rolex distributorship. They're not Rolex. They merely have a contract to be an authorized dealer for Rolex. And actually, that's a pretty complicated contract to get and a more complicated contract to hold. So, no slam on the authorized dealer, but for the purposes of this video, we are not talking about them yet. We are talking about the factory. A bit of review. COVID closed down, like the global economy in 2020.
What a smack in the face.
So, of course, Switzerland was hit pretty hard and they immediately shut down. Also, the factory on Rolex is not far from the border with France, and a lot of the employees of Rolex actually live in France and they go cross-country. They cross an international border on a daily basis to get to work. So they go from France to Switzerland and then from Switzerland to France, and they've got work permits and visas that enable them to do this. But international borders were closed with COVID, and that meant, among other things, that a lot of the workers for Rolex could not get to work. Then, of course, the Swiss government went ahead and closed the factory, and it wasn't, anything specific towards Rolex. They shut down all business in Switzerland, and Rolex protested that. They wanted to know if they could be called essential, but because they believed themselves to be essential to the economy, Rolex, that was an aggressive move, but no, you're not that essential to the economy. Probably the hospitals and grocery stores in Switzerland are a little more essential to the economy, and Rolex was denied by the local regional governing body. At any rate, things are progressing, and we finally have some good news for Rolex and people who love Rolex. So let me read you the letter that I've got here from Moneypenny, and it says as follows. There will be a limited number of employees at Rolex starting Monday, May 4. Okay, now that's the beginning line. So a skeleton crew is going into Rolex starting Monday, May 4th. And that's good news because that's only 2 days from now, today being Saturday, May 2nd. So in just a couple of days, Rolex is going to have a skeleton crew starting to gear up operations of the factory, and that is good news. Now, Moneypenny is actually confirming a rumor that was sent to me by another source. So thank you to that source also. And now we have confirmation from a very reliable and very well-placed Moneypenny. Okay, so a skeleton crew goes into Rolex on Monday, May 4 But I'm reading from Moneypenny again here. But the full return to work at Rolex will take place on Monday, 11th of May. So that means back to work, full crew, starting Monday, May 11. That's fast. That's good, right? It will be based on a social distancing regimen. And so naturally they're going to be putting into place special procedures and the usual COVID-19 health and safety recommendations. So what that means is Rolex will be paying special attention to keeping their workforce safe. Health and safety recommendations. In agreement with the Canton. Guys, Moneypenny has informed us that the regional governing bodies in Switzerland are called cantons. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right because I am not French, I am not German, I am not Swiss. I don't know. I'm just reading, doing the best here that an American can do. A canton in Switzerland would, I think, be about equivalent to what we would call a county in the United States. It's a regional governing body. So the cantonal public health authorities have put procedures in place to keep all the employees safe, and Rolex, of course, more than happy to go along with that. Now, this is interesting. The French employees of Rolex, as I said, these are guys who cross the border, men and women cross the border every day, watchmakers, employees, etc. The French employees have a permit to cross the border, so this will not hinder the running of the production line. And watches, so let's stop there. As I said, the French are going to be able to go back and forth, the French employees of Rolex. And the watches in the vault will be released to the authorized dealers who are able to take delivery now. So I want to talk about that component also. What Moneypenny is talking about, watches in the vault, I discussed earlier because Moneypenny told me about this. And that is, Rolex closed down in a hurry, the way so many companies did when COVID hit and the government shut them down. So they basically turned out the lights and ran out of there. The production of watches is an ongoing pipeline, I'm certain, at Rolex. And so there were a lot of watches in the vault that were basically ready to ship to authorized dealers, but Rolex had to run out of there and not ship them. So Rolex has watches in the vault ready to hit the pipeline. So if you guys are listening to this and you know an authorized dealer, or if you are an authorized dealer, you might want to communicate with your Rolex representative at this time to figure out how can you accept inventory, because Rolex is going to be shipping it pretty soon, and the average authorized dealer right now would really like to have a little bit of inventory, even if it's so they can call customers from home, make individual arrangements for no contact pickup, drop off payment. So some of you guys have been waiting for Rolex watches, and this might be the opportunity. Actually, we've heard from an awful lot of subscribers and viewers of this channel who live in the United Kingdom that they have been offered Rolex watches from large companies such as Goldsmiths, right? And Goldsmiths have asked them to pay in full for the watches and tell them that they will be delivered the second that the COVID quarantine is lifted. So this is a good time if you're in the UK and you've made such a purchase to call your authorized dealer and see if they're not getting stock soon. Tell them about this video. It's important that people know there's some stock being shipped from Rolex. The question is who's able to take it. Those are the guys that are going to get these watches. And of course, the other component of this is that Rolex is going to go ahead and start production again, right? So there are watches that are in various stages of being built, or maybe they're completely ready. They just haven't done the post-COSC certification of them. Because remember, Rolex does what they call superlative chronometer. So they get the COSC certification on the watch first, and then after that what they do is they go ahead and test it further, right, in multiple positions so that they can adjust it even better than COSC specifications. And what that means, guys, is that Rolex has got a little bit of post-COSC testing and noodling and stuff to do. So I believe that they have watches in various stages of production, including finished and ready to go, and they'll be finishing those and then gearing the pipeline back up. Now, is production going to be as full and as fast? Let me get rid of that. Is production going to be as full and as fast as it is when Rolex is like chugging along like post-COVID? Like if you go back, 6 months ago, are they going to be clicking along that fast? I kind of doubt it. I think there could potentially be supply problems. I mean, yes, they manufacture their own parts. They at this stage, Rolex is vertically integrated, which means they make everything for their own watches, but they still need to purchase raw supplies, right? So who knows what their stock is like in terms of raw supplies of metals and machine parts and tools and dies and the repair guys who fix machines. Who knows, right? But I do think it's good news that Rolex will be gearing up. And I think as a wrap up, this is kind of like the conclusion to this video. Guys, I think what's going to happen is Rolex running again, shipping again. I think it's going to sort of stabilize the prices, because prices have been kind of, well, they've been dropping. And when they've been dropping due to uncertainty. Two things. Number one, people don't know if they're going to have jobs. So worldwide economic fear causes uncertainty. And that has caused a drop in the prices of Rolex. However, a continuing shortage in the commodity of Rolex watches could easily drive prices back up again when the economic turmoil begins to become clearer or end. So I think that the reopening of Rolex is going to be a stabilizing influence. It's going to calm the market down a lot. I think the falling Rolex prices are going to be arrested somewhat and will start creeping back up, provided we don't enter a worldwide depression, okay? It is unknown at this time if we will do so. I'm going to make the prediction that things are going to start coming back a little bit quicker. Governments are really on this in a way that they never were in 1929 with the crash of the stock market. So I'm very, very hopeful. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't people who are suffering right now, because there are plenty of those. And if you are underemployed, unemployed, suffering due to the economic disasters that have taken place, believe me, I feel for you. I also am a small business owner, so I am not protected by giant government programs. And so as a small business owner, I have seen very, very swift impact to my business. So I'm with you on this, guys. I'm not making light of it. I just want to say, boy, I hope I see a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. Rolex certainly does. Let's hope that Rolex prices stabilize and we can go on to resume some phase of a new normal. And here's my final word. Rolex will be resetting up back as of the 11th or 12th of May, as I said, rolling it in and phasing it in, starting in only 2 days from now. Great news. But they're going to be spreading their people 6 feet apart. They're going to be instituting COVID-19 sanitization. Is that a word? Sanitization. Sanitary protocols and so forth. So this is what I would call a new normal. How long will the new normal last? We just don't know. But it's better than the reality we have now, which is like Rolex shuttered. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. Please remember to throw a like on this video, subscribe. It helps me out enormously. I appreciate you. Thanks for being with me. Let's look forward to a better 2021. Goldberg, peace out.
Paint the sky.